welcome back to my video, welcome back to my channel. A new video on the Stahlwerk mig200 or Stahlwerk mig200. Today I just want to show you the difference between the three welds that I suggested last time. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do, and then I want to use my new tool that I bought from Stahlwerk to try and make an angle using the little thingy-majig I bought from Stahlwerk to see how that goes. And then first tag it and then weld it, and then just weld some things to it so that we have a couple of different welds to try in a more three-dimensional environment. So let's start by showing you the three different welds and how they look side by side. So today I went ahead and made a small test. As you can see here, I made three welds with three different settings on this plate of metal. The first weld is the weld I tried last time, which is 50 amps 17.5 volts, and the lower one is 120 amps 21 volts that I also tried. Now the second weld is 85 amps 19 volts. That's the setting I believe to be right in the middle, or about in the middle, and it seems to work out quite well. Looking at the welds, they obviously weld quite nice. I should have used a little bit of contact spray so that I could remove the splash a little bit easier, but and what you can also see is the height of the welds. So I just pulled along. I didn't move my torch to the left and the right, just only pulled, and then this is the result. So this is the little jig that I was talking about. So this center piece you can screw in or out depending on the type of pipe or tube that you have, and then it squeezes it together in the corners. I prepared a piece of metal. My Rage saw blade I think is a little bit dull because I have a lot of issues last time with cutting it. Anyway, I cleaned the material and clamped it together, and now it's basically ready for a couple of tags, and then we can weld it. So this is the setting that I experimented with. It's the 85 amps 19 volts. So I distilled that from the other two that were further apart. It sounds super crisp, and it tags super nice, and it welds also super nice, and the weld itself is also very nice. So I think this will be my go-to setting basically for the 2, 3, 4 mil-ish type material. So this is 2 mil. I cleaned off the material, and I also made a little chamfer where the weld can sit in. So I hope I don't go through. I will put a little bit of the spray on, contact spray. And then let's try and weld this. So this weld is actually in the material now. It's not on top anymore like it was in the past. In the past I would have this big dome-shaped weld. This one actually is in the material. It's almost flat. So I'm very happy with that. So this is the first one I mentioned. As you can see, it's very flat. You can almost not see the weld, so that's good. If you now look here on the inside as well. See, these welds are really nice and flat. This is 2mm, and this is again 85 amps, 90 volts, super setting. So I prepared a little plate, and what I want to do is basically have a little step lip, 2 plates on top of each other. It's a standard welding procedure. Just want to see how this weld goes in a plate like this. It's about 2mm, I guess. During my welding course I also had some tries with TIG, which wasn't very successful. So I cleaned off the welds. So my first weld on the edge, basically, I went over it a little bit, so I stopped. Then the second one I went too slow. Third one I went a little bit quicker, still didn't move the torch left to right. Last one I moved the torch left to right, and I think that one looks best. So I grabbed a little bit thicker material, and now that I have a little bit of feeling for the settings, what I'm trying to do is go for the little bit thicker material. Setup that I have now is 24 volts, 160 amps. Now going up in voltage means also that you go, I'm doubting if it's 21 or 26 volts, but then you go into a different area of welding, basically, and you can see and you can hear it. If you look very closely, this welder cannot go above 25.5 volts, so if it's 26 volt I haven't said anything. But in my welding course we went to 26 volts, 27 volts sometimes, and then when you weld you can actually see the weld, or the wire of your torch basically spit the droplets into the weld, and it's very, very interesting to see. I don't expect that to happen now here, but at least I would say this is 6 or 8 mil, and let's try and see what happens. So 24 volts, 160 amps. You can hear already that it sounds very different. It's a very big, so it gives me a lot of material from the torch. I think this is the kind of setting I needed for welding up. Okay, let's try a little more. So funny thing here, every time I have welded so far, I was complaining about having a very high weld. And this is actually the first weld. Well, not the first, but I mean it's one of the welds. It's very flat for the size of the weld that it is. So if you look, and then if you look, you know, the weld is very flat. It's very wide. It's also very flat. So interesting. So I have a couple more of these thick pieces. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut some up so I can make a couple of angles and see how it works with it in a chamfer weld basically. So I just welded just a straight piece, and now I'm gonna weld a small angle and see how that goes with the 24 volts 160 amps. Once you find the settings, this machine is freaking incredible. Okay, so this looks really nice. I will clean it and then get back to you. This episode we started off with this couple welds. And now I just want you to show you another version that I have. So this is, I believe, 8mm thick plate, and I welded it with 160 amps 24 volts. Now this is just a regular weld, just on the material, and then this here is a chamfer weld. It is a beautiful weld. Beautiful weld. And here as well, this one's a little bit bigger, but also beautiful weld. So yeah, just really happy with how this thing welds. Jeez Louise, it is such an improvement on what I had, and the settings actually matter, and they actually do something. Yeah, super happy with this. Looks very good. So again, a testing video. Sorry, I just got a little bit excited watching back the last video and seeing some possible new settings for the machine myself, and yeah, wanted to test them. I wanted to make that little comparison to show you how the welds get bigger as the material gets thicker. I think the comparison I showed you really really is nice to see that. Yeah, the last one again, and with the testing of last time as well, you could really see that we're gone away from those very thick blobby welds. They look nice, but they were just way too thick, and now if especially on those corner welds, you can see it's a really nice chamfered weld, really nice, and the weld quality is really good. The sound is really good. Obviously, that's basically, it needs to start and it needs to go. And yeah, you saw me with the video on the inductance. It was a really weird video for me as well. I tried a lot of different things and nothing worked. A couple of you guys said, yeah, well, I think it's for MMA and not so much for MIG, but it is in the manual on the MIG section. So I don't know. I couldn't do anything with it basically. For me, the inductance, I have it in setting 3 or 4, and everything welds perfectly with that. Yeah, so settings that I did today was so 50 amps, 70.5 volts. Then I did also 85 amps, 19 volts, 120 amps with 21 volts, and the last one I did is 160 amps with 24 volts, and they all work fantastic, especially the 160 24 and the 85 19. Those are really, yeah, really super nice. Super smooth welding, and yeah, one person in the comment, he says he has a 155. I'm very curious to see what the difference is. Obviously with this bigger machine I can go a little bit higher in amps, but yeah, I'm curious to see how these settings compare to a little bit smaller machine or even the bigger one. But I'm just really happy that I'm making progress and I'm starting to learn the machine and I'm getting the results that I wanted. And yeah, I can say for me the investment is truly worth it, and I saw that because of the new machine that Stahlwerk has launched, this machine is actually yeah, been reduced in price, so it's really a bargain at this stage to buy such a machine. If you were in doubt, you know, obviously you can only spend your money once, but yeah, well, it's a very good machine in my opinion, especially for the money. Obviously there are machines that are way more capable and that have way more features and have a digital screen and whatever, but the settings are a little bit weirder, or weird, but I mean, as I mentioned in the beginning of when I started to make these videos, is that there's a Miller app, but if you use the Miller app you're going nowhere with this machine. And also I spoke with my colleague who is a professional welder, and he also said, yeah, well, if you want your weld to penetrate into the material, so you want the weld to get flatter, you need to boost your amps. So I tried to do that, but it didn't work for this machine. This machine just welds with lower amperage and a higher voltage in comparison. But yeah, once you have that setting, it welds beautifully. Tech welding, from the moment go, I said, well, that's fantastic. That's a big improvement on what I had with my my small welder, my flux wire welder. So yeah, all in all, yeah, very impressed with the machine. Very happy with the machine, and you know, this is every machine is different, and you have to learn it. And I hope that by doing these tests, you also do these tests and feel comfortable with them, and at least now you as well have a good base point where to start. I mean, if you start looking through the machine and looking at what other machines do, yeah, you might go completely in the wrong direction. So I hope this helps, and I hope you like the videos. I really appreciate the people watching the videos. I can see that there are a lot of people watching, so thank you for that. Yeah, I hope next video won't be testing, but will be an actual project. And yeah, I was looking forward to see you again. Thank you for watching. If you want, subscribe. If you want, comment. I will try to respond quickly. And thank you very much for watching. Have a nice weekend, and see you guys next time.